right. How y'all feeling out there? Good. Hello, and welcome to Select Conversations Season 2, hosted by me, Rachie Jackson, and it is such an honor to be sitting in front of you all live. This is our first live podcast for Select Conversations, so give it up for yourselves. Y'all are witnessing history in the making, and if you're watching us out there in YouTube land, make sure you hit that subscribe button to the UnitedMasters YouTube channel. Like, comment, chat with us, subscribe, do all the things because we have an amazing program planned out for you today, and especially for this Select Conversation. So, Coodie and Chike, give it up again for them. Y'all come on.
What's up, y'all? What's happening?
Thank you so much for being here. And before I start, I just have to say that I feel so blessed and honored to have this conversation with you all. Even though I'm a part of the Select Conversation, presented by Ally, do it right. I still very much feel like a fly on the wall. And you two intersected about 20 plus years ago, right?
Yeah.
How did you all know that it was each other for each other?
Talk about me and Chike?
Yes, when you all met, how did you know that it was going to work? How did you know you could be cool? How did you know you could do business? What was it about the two of you that just worked and then just fast forwarded you through the Jeen-Yuhs documentary to now?
I guess something you just don't know, it's everything happened for a reason. And I read this book, Celestine Prophecy, back when I moved to New York. And that's what really taught me that there's no such thing as coincidences. And when I went to MTV with Kanye to do his You Hear It First, and Yasmin Richards introduced me and Chike. I didn't know, but he was super cool and super talented. And I checked him out. He was showing me his work, and we kicked it. We wound up just kicking it for a year before anything. You know what I'm saying? But then when Kanye had his car accident and we came up with an idea for the video, I'm like, let's call Chike, because I knew his talent. And thinking he was gonna say no because we ain't had no money, I was like, Chike, we got a good idea. Would you join us in this idea? And he was like, perfect. Yeah, he was cool with it without the money. So, that alone. And then I always this kind of in retrospect, but I got 3 sisters. I grew up with 3 sisters, and I always dreamed of having a brother. When my little sister was born, I wanted her to be a boy, but I'm happy I'm happy for her.
Right.
But
you wanted what you wanted.
I wound up meeting my brother Chike, you know what I'm saying, which became my little brother for sure. And Kanye, tell the truth.
No, that's dope. I've never met anybody from New Orleans or just Louisiana, period, that wasn't cool. Yeah. So I'm just happy that you're representing properly. But how did you know that Coodie was someone that you could do business with?
He was really loyal, you know what I'm saying? The business part we kind of fell into. We really had just developed a really strong, a friendship, and it was funny because I had a company at the time. I was at MTV, but we had our own little company within MTV. We was
okay. You always got to have a side hustle, don't y'all know? Look, the future is what? Independent.
Exactly.
Right.
And so we were doing through the live video at the time, and then I was like, I want to bring Coodie in the fold with the company, and so I remember telling everybody else in the company, a couple of us had started, so we had a little hierarchy within the company, to see all that stuff, and I was like, man, we got to bring Coodie on. I just saw his value, you know what I mean? And then and Coodie was like, well, yeah, I'm down, but I got to be up at the top. If I'm coming in, because he knew his value as well.
That's important. That's important.
And I felt it, so I went to my people and I was like, man, yeah, he's down, but he's gonna have to come in. We're gonna have to break him off at the top. Mm-hmm. And they really weren't feeling it like that, you know what I mean? And maybe they just weren't in close proximity with him as I was, because we were in the trenches together, working on a project together. But I had to give them an ultimatum. And this was a company I started, but I just thought, I was like, man, either Coodie's gonna come and rock with us, or I'm gonna rock with Coodie. You know what I'm saying? And then I ended up rocking with Coodie. And we've been rocking with each other ever since. So.
Yeah, that's that loyalty. You have it in you, and you saw that loyalty in him, and you all intersected, and we have creative control.
Yeah,
that's an amazing thing. Yep. So how, to your point about adversity and navigating around people who don't see the vision, through the documentary and just in life, we know we come to people that don't see the vision. They don't understand what our goals are, our dreams are, our aspirations, or why we even do anything. So along your tenure, working together and separately, just talk to us about how you navigate when people don't see it. essentially.
I mean, it's crickets for them, really. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, that's right.
because you can't let other people have their own limitations, and you can't let people put their own limitations on you.
It's
you
a
know
projection.
What I'm saying? Yeah, for sure.
Yep. And first of all, I gotta say, we gotta thank God for this beautiful day, man. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
come
It could have been raining.
Yes.
It's sunny, it's nice, so we gotta definitely do that.
Yeah.
But man, everything, like I say, God is so amazing, man. And for me and Chike to come together and do the things that we did, and throughout all the adversities, we used to like sit up and eat oatmeal all day. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's all we had to eat. But we knew.
You make some good oatmeal, though.
Yeah, I do make good oatmeal, though.
Is that a struggle meal? Can we call that a
I
struggle
don't
meal?
know. It tastes so good, so it depends on how you
Right,
make
sometimes,
it.
sometimes not. Okay,
I still
cool.
eat oatmeal.
Yeah,
we
but
all got that one.
We seen it though. We seen what we were. We knew what we had. You know what I'm saying? And we was gonna continue to move on that, no matter what. What happened. What God. We say obstacles. When it comes to obstacles, you got to realize like a roadblock, right? It's like a roadblock. When you get to that roadblock, you got to realize that God is just sending you in a whole nother direction, and that's why that roadblock is there. Don't try to go over the roadblock, and definitely don't stand there looking at the roadblock like, shit, I'm gonna get past here. Well, I need to go that way. But he just taking you another way because there's always that detour. And then when you pay attention, there's a reason why it's that detour, because you're gonna see the beauty that God is showing you within that detour as you go on to your destination. But you definitely gotta know and have a destination, period. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have that, then where are you going and what do a roadblock even mean? You know what I mean? So.
Hey man, that's very, very, very obedient. So take us back. You all, first of all, champion storytellers. Y'all agree? Champion storytellers. So I want to know the story of the very first project that you ever worked on. And on the subject of roadblocks, were there any things that you all had to move around? Like, okay, Coodie, I know he likes this way, or okay, nah, Chike ain't going for being late. Like, what were those things that you all had to kind of not really get over, but just go through together to be able to reach the high level of synergy that you all have today and that we are very so much proud of?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Through the Wire was our first project that we did together. And I think,
come on.
Yeah, and I feel like at the time we probably didn't even really see the roadblocks because we were so hungry. Like there was nothing that was going to get in our way.
Y'all just get over it.
Yeah, like we just had resources. We didn't have any money. And I remember we would just, at the time I was at MTV, so I had a lot of relationships in the building. Mm-hmm. And then they were just as hungry too. So everybody had a role that was aligned with what they were trying to do. And so we had a couple people in the building that helped us. And finally we got the project in front of the label. The label probably was the biggest roadblock, just to convince them that we needed more money to actually bring the video to the level that we wanted. But they were hyped with the video when we showed it to them. They were ready to move with it when we brought it to them. We're like, nah, we need some more money. We gotta, we had a different bar that we were trying to reach. Yeah. And then they got on board. And they really, sometimes I feel like when things are just like, when you're moving in your destiny, like in your passion and everything's aligned, that's when a lot of times those roadblocks tend to disappear. And I think even when roadblocks do happen when you're aligned, they're not really roadblocks because it has something to do with like you're not doing the right thing. Sometimes I just feel like God's just realigning you because this isn't what's meant for you right here. It's meant for you to like go around that way. You know what I mean? So we actually embrace roadblocks. You know what I'm saying? So something that might seem like an adversity, I'm like, that's a blessing to me. You know what I'm saying? So
they say either you got time or you got money. We didn't. The roadblock was the money, but we had all the time in the world. You know what I'm saying? So we, that was it.
Yeah. Speaking of Through the Wire and moments from the Jeen-Yuhs film, I remember when you all were zooming in and zooming out, and y'all were having that banter with each other, and I found that so funny. Like you were zooming in on the collage, on the green squares. It's like, come on, we ain't got all day. Like let's hurry. We got to get this right. Everybody be quiet. And that was such a real moment. And there's so many other moments I can pull out. Like for me, one of my favorite points was when Ye was very, very young towards the beginning. This had to have been like maybe episode 1 when he had on that polka dot sweater and he was just rapping, just saying whatever with that box haircut. Y'all remember that? That was hilarious. He's like, I'm deaf, I'm fresh, I am the best. And you never expect less from Kanye West. Like that went so hard to me. What were your favorite moments? Like, do you all have any favorites? I mean, you lived it, so I'm sure the whole 20-year highlight is a highlight. But if you had to pick one moment that was key or just something that sticks out, what would it be?
I'll say like, just meeting KanyeWest, his mom for the first time,
that
just
was
even
beautiful.
having the God give me the privilege to meet her the way I did and to capture the essence of Mama West. You know what I'm saying? Well, I call her Mama West because she was like a mother. When even after meeting her, she was like she just brought me into the family, and she was so wonderful. But yet, I say was, but she is so wonderful because when it comes to spirits never die. You know what I mean? So down the West throughout our whole journey on earth and in heaven, she was with us. You know what I'm saying? And she guided us through this to the point where it was like I can go into a bunch of stories to prove that she was with us. You know what I mean? Which I won't, but that was one of my favorites. One of the stories, well, when I was licensing some footage for the song "To Shock America." It was on I think might have been on ESPN. I mean not ESPN, but Netflix, right?
No, I think VH1.
Well, it was the song "To Shock America." They did one on Jesus Walks, and this was right like about a week before Kanye went to go meet with Trump. And I'm going through the footage, going license the footage. So I'm going through all this footage, and I see the Donda tape, and I'm like, oh, let me see what's on here. And and as soon as I put it on, she was like, Kanye, I got something important I want to talk to you about. As soon as I put it on, that's what she said, and I was like, yo. Now, mind you, I did her funeral piece when she passed away. I did the piece, and I went through all the footage, and that I do not remember seeing. So I'm like, oh man, then she was like, the giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing. I know y'all seen the movie and when she said that. And I was like, oh shoot, right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking about Kanye as this giant right now who I haven't really, luckily for comedy, put us back together, but I really wasn't around him like that. And but I had his email. So I thought about that, and then for whatever reason, I put the tape back in, and it seemed like it rewinded back to Kanye got something important I wanted to tell you about. I'm like, oh, she telling me to send this to Kanye. So I wrote an email, and my subject said, your mother wanted me to send this to you. So I sent it, and it took a while for Kanye to upload it, but when he finally uploaded it, he FaceTimed me. He was like, man, I couldn't, not in a million years I remember her saying that. I said, me neither. To the point where I'm like, did she say that then, or is she saying it right now? Because this was the moment for that message to come out. And then 2 days later, he went and met with Trump. But, that
Hey,
she was trying.
Those are his moments. Those are his moments. Chike, what's your favorite moment?
I think it's not so much that it's a big moment, but for what it represents was when he's in the car and it's in part one, and he's just speaks into fruition that he's gonna win. He's practicing his Grammy speech, you know. And I feel like there's so many times we talk about being able to speak things into existence, but you rarely get a chance to really show how that happens. And I think that's what was so amazing with the project is we were able to like put together somebody's life, and you're able to see that process, because what's so important is all the things you have to go through in order for something you speak into existence to happen. And most of the things that you have to go through, most of the adversities are the failures. You know what I'm saying? You don't have that many, like, there's not that many victories, way more failures than the victories. And so I feel like I was just a blessing to be able to like bring that, that's what I feel like was God. I feel like we were just really vessels to be able to bring that story, because I feel like that's the story that we really want to bring to the world, is how people can like, how can you move in your passion? You know what I'm saying? I feel like we moved in our passions in life, and life isn't set up for you to do that. Like you come out, definitely for us, we come out like just trying to survive. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to have so much faith in order to be like, I'm gonna put survival or what I feel like I need to do in order to survive on the side to really first figure out what I'm even passionate about, and then like moving that and have faith that like what I'm passionate about actually is going to help me survive. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. We definitely all can relate to having to come out swinging, no matter if you're defending an idea or just in life, period. Sometimes just getting to work is a swing, and I think that in creative industries, I've noticed that we have to get comfortable with the gray area. It's kind of like you have to settle in the gray and find your passions in the gray. How did you all do that? Did you all know that what you had in front of you 20 years ago when you were doing it? Or were you just going with passion, alignment? How did you settle in the gray and really decide, okay, this is what I want to give my passion, my resources, and my energy to for so long, repeatedly, even with breaks in between, the way that you did?
I just say Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, look, the answer every time.
That's gonna be my answer, y'all. I'm sorry, but dude, it's like you just don't know. It's like once the vision happened, it just really became fun. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I always thought Kanye had a crazy work ethic, right? But then like watching the footage, I'm like, oh, I had a nice work ethic too.
You were
but
right there.
I didn't know. And same, but yay, we didn't know. And same with Chike. It's like you don't know that you're working when you moving in your passion. You know what I mean? And then you don't know you're moving in your passion till I guess you say, wait a minute, I was moving in my passion the whole time. Like now, when you in retrospect, but yeah, it's just man, just moving, man. That's why I give all glory to God and Jesus Christ, because He saved me through the streets of Chicago to leading me to meet Ye, to meet Chike, to being right here, right now, because this is the only thing that's real, y'all, in life, right? Is right this second. Ain't nothing else real. Everything is like your past is not real no more. It happened, it's not real though. And the future is not real until it happens. So the only time we got is right now. So, live every day like it's your last. I know I'll be going off the question.
Oh, no, it hits home every time, does it not? Okay, exactly. It's hitting every time. Know that. So that's very, very profound. And while you all were working together, and just anytime generally when you're working in your passion, there are moments where you have to know when to sit up and when to step back. And you all were very, very vocal about that the entire film, whether it was through the narration or the way that the media showed us that there was time that you all had to take from Ye take for yourselves, but away from Ye to do what you needed to do and then come back. So just in life and as people figure out themselves, what advice would you share in terms of identifying when it's time for you to pursue something heavy or when it's time for you to just kind of let it go for a second and make sure that it's going to make its way back to you?
I'm going to let Chike talk because y'all know what I'm going to say.
God.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Go ahead, Chike.
I mean, I think a lot of it is you got to really be able to know yourself enough to understand that feeling that you have, your gut feeling. I don't think your gut ever really lies to you.
Right.
I mean, I do think that feeling in your gut is your conversation you're having with God. So I will always kind of go back to that. But I think you got to pay attention to that feeling. And if it's telling you to move, you got to keep going. You know what I mean? And if it's telling you to stop, then you need to stop. And a lot of times, I think sometimes when things seem like you're forcing it,
right?
Just you should never really have to force something. It's almost like when you open it up, when you're putting something together and you try too hard and you end up breaking it. You know what I mean? Sometimes if you're trying to force something, just wait till it comes easy. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times your passions, God's gonna make room for your gift, and He's gonna make it easy for that to happen. You just gotta pay attention. Really, I think the whole thing is just really developing, taking the time you need to develop whatever that conversation for you to understand and discern His voice. You know what I'm saying? And learn how to listen to it. For me, it was really through meditation. You know what I mean? Like I used to I was at one point in church a lot, but meditation is the thing that helped me kind of get better with just understanding myself and get better with understanding like how I have my conversation with God. You know what I mean? So.
Right. And meditation, something I've learned, I was actually talking to Jay Ivy about this yesterday, about celebration and meditation and how sometimes it doesn't look the way that we would think. Sometimes meditation is listening to trap music. Sometimes meditation is taking a calm, quiet moment for yourselves. So what are the ways that you differentiate between like what meditation and what those quiet moments and, those moments where you just need to recharge? Like what do they look like for you on either side of the spectrum?
I say like I was saying, living in the now is really like meditate. Like you said, you can be listening to trap music, but if you're living right there in that moment, that's like meditation. I know it's like when it comes to meditation, they say you're not supposed to think, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're supposed to go center yourself and have no thoughts. But then when I realized like practicing meditation, it was like it's really knowing that, because people are like, man, I'm meditating, but I'm thinking about not thinking. But what you understanding is that you're understanding your thought, that you paying attention to your thought, and that you can control it. So like Deepak say, do the mantra. That's why I meditate with Oprah, but he say do the mantra. So you start saying the mantra, but it's really just understanding your thought and how you can control your thought. It's like thought is so powerful, and that's the only thing that we have 100% control of is our mind.
That's true.
And then when you can be happy and you can be sad and you can be happy in a split moment of thought. You know what I mean? But you just got to understand that, and that's what I think meditation teach you, is how to pay attention to your thought and know that you are running your thoughts and your thoughts are not running you. You know what I'm saying?
You are running your thoughts. Your thoughts are not running you.
Yeah. I hope I said that.
Marinate.
Let me call Deepak and see if that's how he said it. I don't know.
We got to let that one sit. Chike, how do you meditate? What is meditation and just calm, quiet, refueling moments?
Yeah.
What do they look like?
I mean, for me, I feel like it started off very in the traditional way of like sitting and trying to figure it out and trying to be quiet for a long time.
Trying.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta try.
And then it got to the point where I just learned how to just embrace everything. Like I remember one time I was meditating in Central Park and it was so much noise. But instead of trying to cancel out the noise, I just listened to all the noise. But then all the noise canceled itself out. It almost takes you to like a point when you're not sleeping, but you don't, there's times when you're chilling, you don't know how you fell asleep. There's a point when like you realize like, oh, I forgot that I was even awake and now I'm asleep. So like you fall into that space. Yeah. And then I just felt like I learned so much information when I was meditating. Like I haven't meditated in a long time, but I feel like for the time that I put in that work to really get what I was learning from meditation, I still move on those principles. And so I feel like I'm just connected. Like I feel like it connected me through energy. Right. I feel like I got this greater understanding of how we all are energetically connected. You know what I'm saying? And not just as beings, like even this has a vibration in our thought and everything. So when you start understanding that and thinking about that as a bigger layer around yourself, like it's a different movement. So I understand when you say speak something into existence, because that's an actual vibration coming out of my mouth that's connecting with this other vibration is in the world now. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm moving.
We just learned something on a very elevated level just now. Yeah, a wise woman once told me that sometimes your work is the prayer. You don't always have to sit down in traditional posture. Just be intentional. Yeah. And a lot of times that's enough, because if whatever you put out, if that touched someone and if that made them feel better and you understand and received the fact that they had a better day just because you were present, whether it was in a big way or a small way, you're winning. And that is a time well served on earth. Yeah. So with that being said, we're gonna exhale. Let's pivot to money and projects. Throughout the film, there wasn't even a slight innuendo of, it's very, very boisterous about how you all were strapped for cash a lot, but it seemed like, and correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, it seemed like they got a lot done, like on a bootstrap budget. Just nod. Y'all even gotta say that, just nod, right? See y'all nod heads. Like it seems like you all really made a way just by rubbing two pennies together. So teach us a little bit of financial structure with this. How did you take a small budget and create so many amazing projects?
I mean,
the planning, what did that look like?
Well, I'm definitely the worst person when it comes to any type of financial advice. So
you blowing the check every time, too.
I can say, I just feel like we never really was thinking about the money in terms of like money didn't really become a thing until it became, business with the project. But as far as making a project, we just didn't let that stop us. We just figured out what do we have in like, we can't go shoot a film like Steven Spielberg, but like what's attainable for us to shoot, you know what I mean? So, and Coodie just was shooting as he could shoot, you know what I mean? He didn't ever try to make his plate too full where he couldn't eat all the food on his plate. So he only put enough food on his plate every time to where he could eat it all. Now, sometimes we try to overachieve on things And you can still aim to overachieve, but make sure you give yourself enough that you can actually tackle.
Right.
You know what
It
I mean?
has to be realistic.
So Coodie
Right.
chomped at this thing. Like he didn't try to take an overwhelming bite. Like he just shot a little bit and a little bit here when he could and a little bit here. And then, we didn't really spend that much money. I mean, I can't say because he was shooting a lot of footage before I met him. So I don't know how he was,
Shooting from the trenches at
many
that.
DVs
Okay.
I was paying for, but no, we weren't spending too much money on the filming.
And you just leverage every single thing gets to the next thing. Like after we did Through the Wire, we were doing music videos. So we still had opportunities there. And then once we kind of started navigating for music videos, there was times like we were very selectful about what we chose to do.
Right.
So there's times
And
like
rightfully so.
we actually definitely lost, not that we weren't earning money because we chose not to do certain projects because it just didn't match with our message. You know what I mean? So we had to starve a little bit for that, but it was worth it because,
Right.
Now everybody trusts the stuff that we put out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But, I feel like I always knew, as long as I knew where I had a place to lay my head, you know what I mean? That's all I needed. And I was truly gratified in doing this. You just got to really align yourself with something that you would do for nothing. What will you do for nothing? I tell people like and I hate to say this, but like in life, I was like, man, what can I do in life? I'm like lazy. So I'm like, what can I do in life that's not going to feel like work at all? Because I don't want to feel nothing. And so moving in that direction, that's how I align myself with like art, because I had so much fun doing art. It never felt like it was work. You know what I mean? And that kind of, I never wavered to that.
Yeah.
So
Right.
even to this day, it's not so much about when we're doing stuff, we're not doing it for the money. We're doing it because we love it and it makes us happy. And we
Right.
choose happiness as everything.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Shit, I've been happy and broke. Like, I'd rather be happy and
Right.
broke. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because I've been happy and broke.
Been
Like, you know what I mean?
pissed
Most of my life been happy and broke. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think long as you happy, you're not broke. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No matter how much money you got, as long as you happy. I remember I couldn't buy my daughter, when she made 5, the candle. I couldn't buy the candles for her 5th birthday.
Wow.
And I was like, and then of course God provided. The little girl next door just so happened to turn 5. They had a candle. It just came to me like, oh,
Nothing wrong with
y'all
that.
want this? Your daughter turning 5. Y'all want this candle? I'm like, how did y'all know I was even trying to get a candle? But God. So
God's got
you gotta
provide.
trust God, man. Trust God and don't even think. Just don't worry, y'all. And think about all the things that He got you through.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Always think about that. Like I was damn near in a situation like, and He got me through, and He gonna continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? Period.
Yes.
So, but it's good to have money. We're not saying money's not good to have, but happiness is the best.
And happiness is the best. Don't make
money don't bring
everything.
you happiness. That's for sure, as we see
Yeah.
with a lot of people.
And you got to assign your value. Like everything has a different value that you assign to it. You know what I'm saying? So like,
that's
there's
a big
some
one.
things when people would be like, man, how come y'all didn't get the money? Well, that wasn't what we was
wasn't the
looking for
point.
that, because we needed to be
Exactly.
strategic about it. Like when we did our first ESPN, it wasn't a payday, but we knew how important it was for us to get our first doc out on this platform, because that was going to lead to another doc. So
Right.
currency is like, it's subjective sort of. You got to decide it for yourself where the value lies. You know what I'm saying? So-
Currency is subjective. I keep underscoring just things that I think that we can all just take with us and apply to any situation. And I'm a semi-techie, so I'm gonna ask a question like for my techies out there. So we find ourselves in such a technological age, like a technologically advanced age rather. And I know that things have changed and advanced so much from the time that you all met up until now. So what tools, what cameras, what editing suites were you using back then? How did you know when it was time to phase one out? Are there cameras that you still use to this day because it's tried and true, but then you'll also use the most up-to-date technology? Like, how did technology kind of change phase over the 20-year period that you all were working?
I mean, it definitely, for us, technology definitely, it helped us because of, especially when like the DSLR cameras came out, because it just made something at one point that was very difficult to like, especially with music videos and whatnot. You
Right.
need way bigger budgets to get your stuff. But once like technology ramped up, it just made it easier to get your ideas out. But all that said, too, we don't really if you have a good story,
Right.
it doesn't matter. you could tell it with crayons and a piece of paper. If it's a good story and it comes from a soul and a heart, people are going to resonate with it. So we don't try to get caught up in the tech too much. We really focus on like what the story is, and we know there'll be a format out there for us to tell it regardless, always. You know what I mean?
That's good. So, that's good. And that's you being confident in what you have to put out as well. So that's a big one. That's a big one. What
and
about
the manifestation, like we was talking about earlier, just manifesting. Because I remember when I used to have the Canon camera, and I used to be like, man, like it was almost like, I'm like, what if you can change the lenses on the, what if I had different lenses for this camera, And next thing I know, here's a camera that you can change lenses, the Canon and all them DSL cameras, DSLR or whatever. And then it kept doing that. It seemed like Chike had an idea to do a metaverse back in 2007. In 2007, he was talking about doing this whole...
I didn't know it was the metaverse.
Right, he didn't know. It wasn't even out. It wasn't such thing, but he had the whole idea to what we seeing right now. And it, it's almost like you just put it out there. You think about it, put it out there, and then God gonna make it happen, because that's what happened with the cameras. That's what happened that's happening now with the metaverse, because we're gonna go back to that 2007 idea, you know what I mean, and make it happen. But even Netflix wasn't no Netflix like it is back when I decided to film Kanye. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now we on Netflix. It just worked. It just worked for us. You know what I mean?
We had Red Box, y'all.
Put it
y'all
out
remember
there.
that? Red Box.
And there's so many. If you look, I think the film is a great example of that, because there's so many different formats of cameras that we're using to tell that story. And so that truly tells you it doesn't matter. Like some of the film is shot on the iPhone. Some of the film is shot on whatever camera he has. Some is shot on like an $11 8mm camera we got off of eBay.
Really?
That we just prayed to God it was going to develop.
Right. the whole last act of part 3 was shot with the iPhone, with Kanye on the plane, and Carson, what's his name?
Tucker
Carson. Yeah. All that was with the iPhone. I just had my iPhone like this. That's all I had, because I wasn't going down to film them at the time.
Because that becomes an excuse sometimes, a technology thing. Like you can't nah, don't worry about that part. Like work with what you have and use that. And if it's real, people are going to resonate with it. You can't let anything stop you when you're trying to get something out, whether you're making a film, whether you're making music. I remember Coodie Chike put out one of the rawest albums that he made in his basement, but he had no access to nothing. You hear the rawness, but that's what makes it special.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So.
No, that's amazing. That is amazing. I don't think I ever would have guessed that. That part of the film, because you see those people like, we wouldn't have guessed that y'all filmed that segment on an iPhone. And on the subject of Netflix, again, y'all are masterful storytellers. We are so excited and happy to hear you all tell these stories. Tell us the story of the first conversation that you all had after you knew Netflix was interested in your film. First conversation between the two of you.
I mean, really, it was like Netflix, Hulu, HBO.
Oh, they were lined up, as they should have been. We love to hear it.
And Coodie was still like, nah, man, we need to put this on our own platform. We got to make a platform real quick and launch this thing out.
Coodieverse. He wanted Coodieverse to happen.
But we had creative control back in the day. So I was telling Chike, man, let's bring creative control back. And we launched this on creative control. And that'd be the launch of our website again. But then, when it came to like Netflix and all of these people, and they were coming at us like, either you're gonna take this deal now or we're not doing it, or we can be y'all to Friday to take the deal. I was like, I'll wait another 10 years.
He said, don't rush me.
You know what I'm saying?
I've been filming for 20.
But those are the conversations mainly like, yo, we got something valuable, and we're gonna listen to everybody and see what they got. But
what we learned from that is, the greatest lesson that I felt like I took away, at least from that experience, was that patience in business is your best friend, and being willing to walk away from anything gives you the most leverage. You know what I mean? So,
Sure.
Was negotiating a hard process to tap into? Did you all feel like you had the upper hand the entire time? Because I know in business, sometimes we put ourselves in a posture of us feeling that we always have to feel like we have the upper hand the entire time, or we're winning everything, or we're getting the most money. So were there different phases in it? Did you feel like you were on top the whole time? Were there times that you feel like it was slipping out of your fingers? Just put us there in the negotiations.
I'm gonna say we knew we had the upper hand because we owned the footage. We owned our
And that's that
project.
ownership.
So if you own it, like that, they make you feel like, they make you feel a certain way where you're like, okay, I'm gonna miss out on my due. No, you own it, and you always will own it. So that was the upper hand alone, that we had. So
and he was willing to wait until we got the right deal that we wanted. You know what I mean? But I think that the thing what we did is we didn't get consumed with the business too. We just always kind of made sure we stayed away from it, so we didn't let it consume us.
Right.
Because it definitely was a long process, and it definitely could be a overwhelming process. I've been on Zoom calls with I've never been on Zoom calls with that many people that held such high positions at these distribution companies. You know what I mean? And obviously everybody's trying to sell you something, so everybody loves. You know what I mean? So it's hard to really discern. So and then we're not really we didn't go to business school, so you kind of just trying to trust people around you, but the people around you still just want to make a deal. So at the end of the day, you really just got to trust your instincts. Right. And really, that was Jordan in that whole business deal was Coodie, and he just kind of stuck to his intuition, and just moved on what his faith was telling him was the right decisions. And he made some difficult decisions at times that I think nobody would have made but him. And those decisions that he made is the reason why we got the best deal we possibly could get for this project. At least we feel.
Oh, that's cool.
It goes back to trusting God. Like, just got to trust God. Let go and let God. You know what I'm saying? When them times come and you it's a little overwhelming. I'm just like, okay, you know what? Trust God. He got this. You know what I'm saying? Whatever he got, whatever that is going to be or not going to be.
Exactly.
So ain't nothing I can do. I have no control over it like that. So I just, like I say, we talked about that earlier, just let go and let God,
Mm-hmm. Are you all still filming? Because we know there's way more in the vault. And I know there isn't too much that we could talk about on that subject, but are you all still filming? And do we have more documentary-esque, maybe not, things coming in the future?
Well, no, we definitely not. I mean, I'm not with them, filming day to day, of course, like I was. But, when I go around, I will have my camera, my iPhone. So if something happened that's, that should be shot, I'll pull the phone out.
Indeed.
But no, we are moving to we doing the Ernie Barnes documentary.
Okay.
Next. And y'all know Ernie Barnes?
For those that don't, just tell us. We have people watching on YouTube. We got people here that are kind of like, I don't know. So dive into it.
It's too perfect that y'all know, because documentaries, best documentaries is Discovery. So Ernie Barnes is this painter who used to, y'all remember Good Times? The show Good Times? So all the JJ paintings on Good Times in the beginning of the show with the elongated party scene, which really was Marvin Gaye's album cover, I Want You. If y'all don't know that, go get that album and check it out.
Google it really quick on your phones.
Yeah. So that's the next person that we're doing a doc, which I documented him painting one of Kanye's paintings, and it's just to go to say how spirits, even though Mr. Barnes is alive, but just manifestation. Like I used to dream about having JJ paintings on my wall. I used to call it JJ paintings because I didn't know no better. But I'm like, my house is gonna look like this. My wife is gonna look like this, and I'm gonna have these JJ paintings on my wall. And then to fast forward for me to meet Mr. Barnes and become really good friends, all of us with Mr. Barnes was all I had, my dream was just to have JJ paintings on the wall. Right. And now this is my boy. He wound up giving us a painting from heaven. He gave us a painting that story is crazy too, but
we'll wait. We'll definitely wait on that one.
But y'all can see that in the doc.
Right. We're gonna exercise our patience on that one for sure.
Yeah.
But we also understand and know that you document the two of you's journey a lot. Like even in the Jeen-Yuhs film, we saw moments between you. So I know you all want to know, because I can hear y'all. We got ESP. Did we make the documentary? Are we in it?
Yeah.
Are we in it?
When I came out with the
you
phone,
got a shooter somewhere? Are we in it?
It wasn't for Instagram. I came out here for something you never know later. Yeah. I'm not about to put it on IG. You know what I mean?
We made it, y'all. Clap for us. Clap for us. We in the Coodie Chike documentary, y'all. So, before we leave, I really don't want to wrap this up, but we got to do what we got to do sometimes. Leave us with a word of wisdom that has helped you come out of any dark moment that you've ever found yourself in.
Man, you gonna come to me first, huh?
Go ahead. I had this one thing I wrote down.
Or a mantra, or just a group of words sometimes. Because one quote or one sentence sometimes isn't enough. So I get it.
I mean, I just think the best gift you can give yourself at some point in life, and I feel like people in here, if you haven't done it already, because I don't want to say, people probably already have, but I think for people that haven't, is just take the time to reflect on who you are as a really take the time to sit with yourself and really take the time to figure out what your relationship is with something bigger than you. Mine, I form one with God. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, I just don't feel like everything to me is in his hands. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Amen.
I'm not really like the good and the bad. I just feel like he got me. So that helps eliminate fear. We move around a lot in this world. We move with fear of making choices because of what's going to happen. And the best way to eliminate, not that I have no fear, I'm definitely scared to die. I don't want to die. You know what I'm saying? But that might be like the only thing I might be scared of. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, am I scared of going broke or being broke, or when I was broke, was I scared of being like, nah, I just felt like as long as I was moving and I aligned myself with something I was really passionate about doing, it made me happy. I just had a feeling that I'd be able to do that forever, So I would just say, like, really figure out what it is that really truly makes you happy, and just always align, never let that go, and try to make every step towards being 100% control of that and being around that in whatever capacity you can.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. How about you, Coodie?
I would say to embrace all adversity, all challenges, all failures.
Indeed.
Embrace them. You know what I'm saying? Because what would life be if you just won all the time? It's like playing a 3-year-old and whatever sport you like. You know what I'm saying? You just win all the time. You can pool, basketball. As a 3-year-old, you're beating them every time. What fun is that?
Right.
And how would you learn if you're doing that? You know what I'm saying? So, man, love them failures. You know what I'm saying? Look at it as a game. Like, okay, bet I'm going to get them next time. You know what I'm saying? So that'd be my advice. I just thought about that the other day when I sent off these Sunday blessings, and when I sent it off, this girl was like, man, how do I get, I wish I wasn't going through all these failures and all. I'm like, well, life wouldn't be fun without it.
Right, and it's character building too.
And you're always a student. Like we here, like we don't know the answers to it. If we knew the answers, man, we'd be able to tell y'all and everybody to be straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's just always remaining a student. You know what I'm saying? We remain a student to your craft, and also just remain a student in life, and be open and receptive to just learning every day, learning something new, and remove your ego from everything. Just be a passenger in life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we live life emotionally through our emotions and through our ego, and we try to control everything. And it's just like, let go and let God is what we say, but it's like getting it. And I didn't really learn that until I was like in my 30s, where I really learned how
to apply
to
it.
just sit in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
I spent so much of my life really trying to drive, and that was the best thing that ever happened. And it's hard.
And he can't drive, though.
And I can't drive.
He ain't got license.
Actually, so I literally have been in the passenger seat. But like, it's as abstract as it may sound, like to some, it's very real. And I think there's definitely, I'm sure people in here who already are moving in life in the passenger seat, so they could attest to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right, indeed.
Can I say one more thing?
Please,
Just
say two more things.
Trust God. Trust God, period, man. A real quick story. I was on my birthday, which was January 18th. We celebrating at Bond Street, and all of a sudden I get this text about Kanye needs creative control, and he's going to shut the movie down if he don't get it. And now, mind you, I'm already off of edible, you know what I'm saying? Some drinks, and it all hit at that moment. Everything hit. I'm feeling good, and I read my man. I'm like, oh, and I almost fainted. Like, I'm like, oh. Right, and at the same time, I look up, and here they come with the birthday cake. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, that was
I'm
a good gag.
So I'm looking down, but then God just smacked me on the back of my head and was like, yo, look at all these people in front of you that love you, that's right here. That situation not even in front of you. That's just something you reading and you trust me, right? So trust me, I got you. And we here now, and the movie's out and on Netflix. Kanye love it, and here we go. You know what I'm saying? So
and here we
trust
go.
God, period. Trust
yes,
God,
show
period.
some gratitude. Well, thank you so much for your listening ears and your time. If you're out there on YouTube, if you learned half of one thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button to the UnitedMasters YouTube channel. Like, comment, chat with us throughout. Give us some feedback. Also, follow Ally. Do it right. And just make sure you stay tuned for all of our other Select Conversations for season 2 in the future. Everybody, Coodie and Chike.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate that.
Peace.